What is going on, you guys? ShadowX back with you for another Dokkan battle video, and we have the details for EZA STR Janemba. We're gonna go ahead and break everything down and talk about him because I do have to say I am very underwhelmed and disappointed with what they did and how they treated this guy with his buff. So let's go ahead and jump into it and discuss. So starting out with his leader skill here, he gives extreme types 3 key to STR and 130% to stats, or super types 3 key and 90% to stats. So that did jump up. A much improved leader skill, especially for something like Battlefield, or if you're going to use this guy as like a mono type lead, you could get some benefit in that department. His super attack here, he does immense and massively lowers defense now, so that went up, I guess, from just greatly lowering it. What was it before? It was just greatly, yeah. So now he massively does that. His passive skill here, he gets attack and defense 100% at the start of turn now, which is what he needed. Now he guards against all attacks, which is what he already had previously. He has a medium chance of evading enemies' attack, including super attacks. Then he gets an additional chance of evading enemies' attack, including super attacks, up 10% with each attack evaded within the same turn. And then his links obviously don't change, and categories don't change as well. So those are the overall improved stats for his EZA. I want to actually compare him to the Int Janemba because they're very similar in terms of what they do with their EZAs. So this guy's leader skill, don't worry about, he's different typing. His super attack does immense and greatly lowers defense. So obviously massively lowering defense is better, but overall I've just found greatly lowering defense to be completely pointless. I don't like that super attack effect on either of these units. Again, I just found lowering defense is so pointless outside of needing it for a unit such as something like Tech Jiren, right? Who needs that to get his super effective against all types, right? And the fact that they're both extreme units, you can make that work, right? So from that aspect, it's a fine mechanic, I guess, but overall, for the majority of the game, lowering defense is just pointless. Um, I really wish they would have changed it to massively lowering attack. That just would have been so much more beneficial. He would have been so much better if they had just done that small thing for him. Um, so again, this guy gets 100% start of turn. Maybe, well, we'll talk about the improvements at the end. I don't want to jump to that yet. So he guards, which is what he had. Obviously, Int Janemba guards as well, but keep in mind Int Janemba needs to get hit to activate that guard. This guy just has it for free at the start of turn. So, I found there in many situations where slot one enemy's not attacking and you have no chance of getting this guy's guard. So, this guy's gonna be better defensively in that department from that aspect. But if you can get Int Janemba's guard, they're gonna be very similar levels in that department, right? So this guy also has a medium chance of evading enemies, including super attack, right? Same thing as this guy. But this guy gets an additional 10% every time he evades. So it activates, right? If you get the evade, you have another chance to dodge, depending on how many times that the enemy is attacking in whatever slot you're putting this guy in. So I'm going to be honest with you guys, I don't like that effect. And the reason why I don't like that effect is because, a unit like this, you're going to want to put him in slot 1 because that's more often than not where the enemy is going to be attacking the most amount of times. But they want you to run this guy clearly with like the Tech Janemba, obviously, right? Because when the Tech Janemba is transformed, the two of them link really well together, right? But his design is so stupid because you're not running this guy in slot 1. You're gonna run Tech Janemba in slot 1 because Tech Janemba needs to get hit 5 times in order to be able to transform, right? So it takes away from the second part of his passive here. So I overall I kind of feel like this is almost like a waste. Like this is pointless. Like why did he need this? Like this could have been something else. Like how about this is he changes orbs to rainbow. How about that? Or he's a support type unit for the Tech Janemba, which badly needs it, right? They just could have made this guy so much better, and they didn't. They really, I feel like they really held back with this EZA, and I don't understand why. because it's 2021. You don't need to hold back. I promise you guys, you guys can go all out on EZA. Like, we had such high hopes for this guy, and I feel like they didn't come through. They didn't. They fell short with this EZA. And I'm sorry if you're a big time Janemba fan. Um, he didn't get the treatment that we were all hoping for, and it's very disappointing. So, this guy gets the attack buff, whereas this guy is getting the evade chance, right? Obviously, the attack buff is more beneficial. This guy's probably gonna hit a little harder. I'm not really sure. It's tough to say because the STR one is getting the 100% attack and defense at the start of turn, obviously, right, with his passive. So he's probably gonna hit harder, I would presume, but he's not gonna be hitting levels that he should be hitting, right? For an EZA unit in 2021, like, you know, for free, this guy should be easily hitting like a 5 million attack stat, and he's not going to be doing that. He'll easily hover around 4 million. That's not bad, right? I'm not saying this guy's bad, but overall, I just feel like on paper, he seems very underwhelming in terms of what they did and how they handled his EZA, right? I just feel like they could have done more. If I'm designing this EZA, here's what I do to change this unit to make him better. Literally, this is all you do. You get rid of this bullshit, massively lowering defense. You get rid of that. You don't need that. That's pointless. I hate that super attack effect. It's so pointless. Lowering defense, I've always found to just be pointless compared to lowering attack, especially for difficult content in the game. And clearly they had Super Battle Road in mind with this guy because of this right here. This is important for Super Battle Road, right? Being able to bob and weave, getting the chance to evade is going to be very beneficial. But keep in mind, he's already guarding, so he really doesn't need this, right? I mean, I know his defensive stat isn't the craziest, so it'll help him out in that department. But again, if this guy was a support type unit, especially for like the Tech Janemba, which badly needs it because when that Tech Janemba is not transformed, he doesn't link the best. Tech Janemba pre-transformation like has no key links with STR Janemba, so like it hurts him in that department, right? So if this guy was a support type unit for that Tech Janemba, it just would have been so much more beneficial overall, I feel like. And the fact that they didn't make this guy Rainbow Orb Changer, a support type unit in that department, it really hurts a unit like Janemba because they're meant to be ran alongside each other, obviously, right? They're meant to work well with each other, and it's very wonky the way they went about with this design choice in this EZA, and I don't understand why. Again, I'm not saying this guy's bad. He's not a bad EZA, right? He is a good unit overall. It's just he's not what we were looking for. He's not what we were expecting. And in my honest opinion, I feel like this guy got the AGL Vegito treatment, and that's just not good enough for me. This guy doesn't do enough on paper. Again, once he's in game and I can get him EZA, maybe I'll play around with him. I'll test him out. I'll compare him to the Int Janemba. But overall, I'm just not very impressed from what I see with his details. Give me a couple weeks, maybe I'll change my mind. I'm not really sure yet. But if you honestly feel like this guy is better than the STR one, I might not disagree with you. I'm not really sure yet. Maybe it's too soon to tell. But again, I just feel like this guy is not as impressive as he should be. He doesn't seem to me, he doesn't seem good enough to me right now. I'm not jumping out of my chair going crazy for him. Literally, like I promise you guys, I read his stats, and I think I just said to myself, like, that's all? Like, okay, cool. I think that's literally all I said after I read his stats. Like, compared to when I read this guy's stats for the very first time, I remember I was going crazy. When this guy got his EZA, he was like the best goddamn unit in the game for over a year. This Janemba is not in that tier. He is not even close to that. So again, understand these things. He's not a bad unit. He's just not as good as we were hoping that he would be. Again, they shafted him. He's very limited on his categories, which is going to hurt him. I don't know. let me know what you guys think of it and his overall details here. But I'm just not very impressed. I'm more so disappointed because this was one of the units that I had very high hopes for, and to me they fell short. And I don't know. I'm not satisfied, and it sucks because we're in 2021. EZAs clearly are the best thing that Dokkan has ever done, and when they don't come through and they fall short on a very hype character such as Janemba, um, it's disappointing. I feel like they did Janemba, the Tech 1 and the STR 1 dirty. They did. With Tech Janemba and his overall kit and his wonkiness in terms of design, I'm not a big fan of the way, he's very limited in the fact that you need 4 type key spheres with rainbow key spheres to get his support type passive, dodging, his guard activated, right? All these Janembas are very similar in what they do, um, but they're asking a lot of you in terms of that tech one, and not having this guy as a support type unit for him really hurts overall, right? I just want to make this guy overall better, right? But I don't know, man. We'll have to see what he looks like once he comes out in game. I'll get him ECA'd. I already have him rainbowed, so that's good. Work on his links, try and get him full level 10 links. I'm sure he's gonna look really good once he's fully maxed out, right? But he's not gonna be in the same department as some of these more other recent 120 EZAs like at Super 17, right? Kid Buu, and even the future 120 leads that are going to get their EZAs. I feel like this guy's going to fall short when comparing him to all the other newer EZAs. But again, we'll have to see, right? Maybe it's too soon to tell for that. But overall, in my honest opinion, I'm just not very pleased with how they handled this EZA. So again, let me know what you guys think of EZA Janemba and his details here. And that's going to do it for this one. So thank you guys for watching. And until next time, your boy's clocking out. Shadow X. See you guys in the next one.